Welcome back to another quick review. Today we are talking about The Well of Ascension, Book 2 in the original Mistborn trilogy, which I think is called Era 1, if I remember correctly. Um, Obviously, this is the sequel to Mistborn, or I think it was called The Final Empire, whatever. Um, and I think overall, if I had to sum this book up in like one sentence, it would be it don't hit the same. You know, I think my biggest issue with Well of Ascension, outside of Book Two syndrome, which honestly Book Two syndrome is kind of weird because a lot of the Book Twos that I've read outside of Valor, I've like loved, like Golden Sun, Words of Radiance, Royal Assassin, and stuff like that. Those have been 10 out of 10 books for me, but I digress. Um, I think Well of Ascension's biggest issue, for me at least, was it doesn't capture the original the vibe of the original book, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. Right? One thing that God, did I say Golden Sun? Oops. Well, oh my goodness. One thing that Well of Ascension does is it's a book that's trying to go bigger, right? And I think that works in certain cases. I really love the political talk. I love political talk in just about any book. I hate what's going on in America right now, but in any book, I love that political talk. I think that just does so much at building a world, um, adds so much to characters, gives them alliances and sides. You get a feel for their beliefs and their morals, and I think so. And I think that aspect of this book is great. I think where it kind of fumbles a little bit is the fact that it is juggling so much. It's juggling setting up book three. It is juggling just the sheer amount of characters that we're getting perspectives from, because there's a lot of them. We switch perspectives a ton in this book, and I think it ultimately just comes down to it's a bit too much. It's too big and it's too much, and I think that's my biggest issue. Like ultimately, the book is still good. I still had a good time reading it, just not as good of a time reading this book as I did book one. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm having a hard time kind of um, getting my point across, getting out what articulating what I want to say. Um, but you just have to deal with that. You have to trust me on this one, okay? If we're talking about things that I love, Vin is just a phenomenal character. She's becoming one of my favorite protagonists in the books that I've read so far. And it hasn't been many, but in the books that I've read so far, I really love Vin. I love the relationship that she has with the crew members, the relationship that she has with the Conjure is specifically, or so I cannot pronounce that name to save my life, or and to change his name later, whatnot. Um, is so good. That relationship is so good. The relationship Ellen has with his father and the assembly, and how that um, intertwines with the political aspect of this book is all really good. Sazed and Tinwell, I can't remember. Like, God, names are hard. Names are hard. I love English. Names are hard. I think their relationship and their dynamic is great, and I think it pushes Sazed's character forward in a way that I'm very excited to see in book three. Um, I think like, those are the things that I like genuinely love, but it's where we start getting into like the I don't know, like the heavy lore building, like we start like diving into like hundreds of years ago, that I think Brandon Sanderson kind of it's not it doesn't work for me, and I think ultimately I think that this is kind of the first time where, and people could complain about Sanderson's prose and how he writes his books. And I never really understood. I think this is the first time where I understood that. The first time where I was like, okay, some of this isn't great. Some of this isn't it's not the greatest writing in the world. But it works, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. And I think some of that definitely took me out of it. Um, I don't know. I it's such a hard. This is. I think this might be one of the hardest quick reviews that I've done, just because it's so hard to explain what this book why this book doesn't live up to the original book. Why it's just not as good in my opinion. It's like I said, still a really good book. I still had a great time with it. Um, I loved a variety of things in it, but there are just some things that I don't like in it, and I think that's ultimately come what it came down to. Some things I like, some things I don't. I'm still excited to read what happens in Hero of Ages. I just started it like couple hours ago. I'm not even 20 pages in. So I'm gonna I can't wait to get into that because I think where the book left off, how that book ends, leaves me excited. But ultimately, just as a whole, there are certain parts that I really like. But as a whole, it's fine. It's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's really good. It's still a good book, just not as good as others. You know. All right, I'm gonna end it here. This has been a very all over the place quick review, but all of them are. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Thank you for watching. See ya. Bye.